Hello everybody and welcome to episode number 8. I am the Utah Ranger. Just want to give a really quick shout out to everybody who has subscribed to the YouTube channel so far, and to everybody who is following me currently on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter at the Utah Ranger. I really appreciate the support, everybody. Now we're going to start this episode off. I do apologize about the hiatus. I did take a few weeks off here. I was waiting for this guy here on the far right. Those of you who pre-ordered him on Amazon, you guys saw the fiasco that kind of went down with the release date and constant changing, and some people were getting it really early, others got it on the actual street date. I got mine just shortly before the actual street date went live, as well as the whole situation with Targets, having them out on the floor and not having them in the system because they had a street date that was set for one date and then it changed to a second date, and it was just a big mess. But I have him now, and we're going to do a very special episode today. We have 3 different White Rangers, each one of them very different from one another. They are all beautifully done, in my opinion. I really don't have any complaints about any of them. If I do, we're going to address them at the very end, and it's going to be probably very minuscule. I'm not super duper picky when it comes to my Power Ranger stuff. As long as it's done right, I usually don't have many complaints. So we're going to start off on the far left over here. He is Bandai's Mighty Morphin Power Ranger Legacy White Ranger. So this one's been around for quite a while. You guys probably recognize him. He's been out for a few years now, actually, because they've gone through quite a few different waves. There's 2 variations of him. This one and the one that came in the Comic-Con exclusive pack. That was the Metallic White Ranger, Metallic Green Ranger, and Metallic Red Zeo Ranger 5. And it was the Tommy exclusive. I believe it was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive that does go for a pretty penny now. I do look forward to eventually someday owning that set, but it might be a while before that's a possibility. But here is the original, and he's the first edition one. I got him just after they came out. So he is from the first wave, not from the re-release that Bandai did just before Hasbro acquired Power Rangers licensing. So these figures, they actually did a pretty good job on, I think. The articulation is good. They could have maybe given a little bit more detail into the paint. Obviously this is just gold plastic, which is good. I mean, it's at least a step forward from what they gave the Zeo Rangers, which is weird because the Zeo Rangers came out considerably after these ones did. And they gave them craft cheese colored plastic instead of gold plastic or gold paint like they were actually advertised at the toy fairs. But that's going to be for another episode. I know I bring it up all the time. But I'm actually very impressed with these. I really have been waiting for some pretty detailed, articulated Power Ranger figures for a long, long time. Because all the other ones that we got, obviously, they didn't have very good articulation. They were still fantastic figures, but they didn't have super good articulation. These ones, however, have quite a few points. Double ankle joints. They've got a swivel as well as a tilt. The double knee joints. The thigh swivel, as well as the hip tilt, forward and backward, side to side. They've also got a waist swivel as well, and a tilt at the chest. They've got the double joint at the shoulder, as well as the swivel joint, double joint at the elbow, and a swivel and twist at the wrist, as well as, obviously, the back and forth, up and down, drop the Saba, with the heads. His sheath here is partially affixed. It clips in, and once it's in there pretty good. You can still remove it, however it is a little bit difficult. And if you can kind of see there, he's got a little bit of an indent flaw on the visor. Nothing major, it's not a problem. Obviously the mass manufactured figures, they'll always have at least a little bit of issue. However, let's move on to Saba, his partner. Saba, the sentient being. Oh boy, it's just not wanting to focus in on Saba at all. Okay, let's get him. So, Saba is the sentient being sword that Zordon created to be basically the White Ranger's partner. Super powerful sword. They delve into it pretty deep into the comic books and Boom Studios' new stuff, and with Lord Draken. They don't do too much delving into him in the actual series, unfortunately, but you get to see him in all of his glory. The detail is pretty good, in all honesty, for what they did with Hasbro's sword is considerably different. SH Figuarts Saba is considerably different. However, for Bandai's time that they had the Power Ranger licensing, they did obviously a full-size Saba, and they did the Saba for the Legacy figure. All in all, the figure is fine. I like it. I'm happy with it. It looks good. The paint quality is fair. But all in all, I like the Legacy line. They're a little bit more like a buff body figure, as opposed to our second figure here that we're going to delve into is the SH Figuarts line. As you can see, they're a little smaller figure in stature, but that's pretty common with the Power Ranger SH Figuarts line. They're a little more accurate towards the show for the Super Sentai side. They're a little bit thinner. The actors were a little bit smaller in stature, but for what they are beautiful figures. They have done a really great job. The paint looks good. The textures are fantastic. The white has almost a little bit of metallic to it, and I can't really disagree with their decision to do that, because I think it was a good call. At one point, the Power Rangers did have a metallic armor. That was in Season 3, I believe. However, the paint is really good. The articulation on SH Figuarts, if you're familiar with them at all, is fantastic. The SH Figuarts have a very specific joint style that they use for all their figures, and they're super high quality joints. They are very, very posable figures, and they can do some pretty wild stuff. They've got toe joints that you can tilt just the end of the foot, just the toe, to be able to get into some really, really cool action poses. So I'm a huge fan of this SH Figuarts. This is the 25th anniversary version. This was the one that came with the Tommy unmasked head. And we're going to actually delve into his accessories. The Legacy figure did not come with any accessories, except for Saba. These figures, however, they came with quite a few different accessories. The SH Figuarts figures are notorious for coming with, separate hands that do different poses, fists and grasping hands, and hands that can hold the weapons. So, the Saba detail on this is really good as well. It does have quite a bit of good paint detail. They got the red on the eyes. Saba's mouth is open. Presumably they're giving strategic orders or growling at his enemies. So this figure actually came with quite a few different pieces. Obviously it comes with the Tommy face. Let's see how close we can get before the camera starts disliking. Disliking the zoom. Come on, you can do it. It's fine. But of course he's got the long hair. Tommy's signature long hair. And you can swap this head out with the actual Ranger helmet. I think it's really cool. It looks pretty gruesome when it's just kind of sitting on the ground, because it looks like Tommy's, got his head cut off. Now here is the accessory palette here. So you can see he's got a couple of different hands, a closed fist hand, semi-open hand with the thumb up for the right and the left, and an open hand, and we've got hands that are just falling out. So these are the options here, plus you have a Saba blade that's extended, because Saba did open, well, retract and expand depending on what Tommy was using Saba, for. If he was just in the sheath, he was retracted in a shorter state. If he was actually in battle using Saba, so sorry about the plastic noises, guys. If he's actually using Saba, then he has an extended blade, so it can actually get a little bit of extra reach. So there's the two different Saba blades. Both of them have fantastic paint detail. They look really good. I'm happy with them. Overall, you really can't go wrong with an SH Figuarts. They did the Green and Red Ranger 25th anniversary for Mighty Morphin as well, with Tommy and Jason's heads. So that's our SH Figuarts. Now, we're going to move on to this gentleman here on the furthest right. He's Hasbro's newest acquisition, Power Rangers. Lightning Collection, White Ranger. As you can tell, his colors right off the bat are completely different than the other two. They're similar, but very different. And my autofocus is just not liking me today for some reason. However, this Ranger, I do believe, is the most show-accurate looking Ranger to the American Power Rangers. He has the wrinkles in the outfit. He's not like crazy buff. They're, well built because they're Power Rangers, but they're not crazy buff. Now, this figure in particular, the one main complaint that I've seen that people are having is they are noticing that these Hasbro figures have some paint details that are not so high quality. That's not a huge problem for me. However, for some people it is going to be an issue that, expect the best out of the figures for the money. This figure in particular, he's got a lot of white speckles and things like that are all over the black part of the armor. That's not a huge deal for me. That's not a deal breaker for the figures. I am very happy that Hasbro's decided to do an articulated Power Ranger line, and especially the fact that they are doing them show accurate to the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers American series, because a lot of them have always been, they've asked for the SH Figuarts over the years, and they've all been accurate towards the Super Sentai line. The Pink Ranger will be in Wave 2 of the Lightning Collection. They've already released Lord Zed from Mighty Morphin, and in all honesty, I'm only going to be collecting the figures that I'm interested in, which is going to be the Mighty Morphin line. So, he's got a lot of good articulation as well. He's got the double joints at the ankle, swivel and tilt, double joint at the knee like the Legacy. He's got a swivel at the thigh. He's got a ball joint at the hip. He's got a front and back swivel and a twist, so two different sets of joints on the chest. The shielding is kind of a rubber, softer rubber. However, the gold on it does look really good. It does look pretty accurate. Now, he comes with, I think, as cheesy as this is going to sound, one of my favorite features, the fact that he comes with the flat hand, which was one of Jason David Frank's favorite poses in Mighty Morphin. He'd always do the Kia, and he'd always have the hand flat, which I think is pretty sweet. That's one of the features of this figure in particular that I'm super happy about, because then you can do some serious show accurate poses. And of course, this figure in particular comes with a few extra hands, as well as Tommy's unmasked head, and each one of the Lightning Collection figures has kind of a cool, like a power kind of accessory that kind of accentuates like an energy kind of a accessory. This figure in particular comes with kind of a blue lightning kind of effect, almost. Now, Hasbro Saba, they did a lot of paint on as well. The molding looks really good. It's very similar to the other two. There's nothing that's, you know, crazy different about it. Besides, the head has a lot more silver on it than the other figures. Which I'm totally fine with. He looks good. He looks pretty cool. Now, here is the plastic casing that comes with the Lightning Collection. So you can see he's got a couple of extra fists. One's a grabbing hand, I do believe. No, they're both fists. And then he's got the Tommy head, as well as the cool power effect. The power effect is supposed to clip on to the end of Saba. So here is the power effect. It's like a gleaming, shining energy beam of sorts. It's supposed to go on the end of Saba, so he can be holding it up. God, have, you know, like a cool explosive energy kind of effect. And the Tommy head that comes with it is pretty cool, I must say. Hasbro, they've been doing the Marvel Legends figures for so long, and I feel like they've got a really good system for head molding and for being able to do the laser accurate. They do the whole face scan technology. I do believe they actually started doing that with the WWE figures a long time ago. But he comes with the single ponytail, which everybody really enjoyed back then. I do remember very specifically in the situation. So here's, oh, Tommy, why did you do that? What have you done? So here's our two Tommies. I kind of got off topic there, I'm sorry about that. Right side, Hasbro. Left side, Bandai. So I do believe SH Figuarts is licensed through Bandai in order to be able to make the SH Figuarts, which probably means that we may not be seeing many more SH Figuarts in the future from Mighty Morphin or Power Rangers in general. So they both look pretty good. The SH Figuarts has a ton of detail. The Hasbro one has a lot of detail in it as well. Their paint's a little bit more glossy. However, both of them are fantastic. All three of these figures I couldn't be happier with, in all honesty. The fact that we even get to have 3 different White Rangers and each one of them is considerably different from one another. I actually think that that's pretty cool, because I'm a big collector and obviously a huge Power Ranger fan, and the diversity between these figures I feel like is what makes them unique. Now, each one of them is a different scale, they all have a different build, each one of them is great in their own nature. They all have their own places. I'm excited to see where Hasbro goes with these, because I am super stoked to see if we get maybe some other show accurate Rangers. I'd like them to do a full Mighty Morphin set, obviously, because Mighty Morphin is my favorite series. See if I can get him to balance for me again. He's being quite the bugger right now. So in this case, guys, this has been all three of the main White Ranger figures that are on the market. There is another White Ranger SH Figuarts that's been out for a while. That's not the 25th anniversary. It's just the normal one that was released quite a while ago. But all three of them are great in their own light. I really enjoy them a lot. I hope Hasbro does the Power Ranger line justice. So far, so good. We've got Zed as well with this wave, and then a GameStop exclusive that is Goldar. We all know how GameStop's pre-orders go. They do take a long time to come in, but I'm hoping that once they do, that they will be great. Now guys, I appreciate you if you hung around this long. I know it's been a long video, 3 figures at a time. I have decided we're going to kind of change the format of the videos up a little bit. Instead of doing single figures, which probably take forever for each line, we're probably going to do them in waves. And kind of go over them a little bit more in depth. And maybe delve into some of the backstories on some of our favorite characters. So guys, I want to thank you again for sticking around. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment. Let me know what you guys want to see next. Let me know what you thought about the video. Let me know what you think about these figures in particular. Again, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, @the Utah Ranger. And I appreciate you guys for tuning in. May the power protect you.